Hello friends, and welcome to your math lesson for Wednesday, April 22nd. Today we're going to be talking about halves, or dividing two-dimensional shapes into two equal parts. So we're going to be looking at page number 687 in your math book. And we're going to first start by drawing a couple of shapes here in this empty blank. And we are going to be drawing first. Let me just put my page up here so we can see the whole square here that we're going to need. We're going to be drawing a square, a circle, and a rectangle inside of this big blank area. So up here in the corner, I'm going to draw my square. So remember, a square has all four sides the exact length. So there's my square. And then I need my circle. I'm going to do my circle over here. Just do the best you can with your circle. Remember, circle is a completely round shape. It does not have any sides or vertices. And then we need a rectangle. So I'm going to do my rectangle down here. And a rectangle has two sides that are shorter, two sides that are longer than each other. Okay, so there are my three shapes that we are going to use. Now, our directions are to divide these shapes into two equal parts. So I am going to take a different color just so I can show you a little bit easier. Let's see, we're going to do green. I'm going to do a horizontal line across for my square. I'm going to do a vertical line for my circle, and we'll do another vertical line for the rectangle. Now, our directions are to shade each of these shapes into a different color. You can just use your pencil though, because I'm only going to shade one side. And I'm actually going to go back to the blue when we do these sides. So I'm going to take my pen here. Can I make my pen bigger? No, I don't think I can. So I'm going to take my pen and just shade one side here. And your shading can be a little bit neater than mine. I'm doing mine on my computer, so it's not going to look as neat. But the whole point is, oops, don't want to go over your line. Make sure you stay behind your line. So I'm going to erase that little part. That way it's still all on one side. And we're showing that we're only looking at one out of two equal parts here. So when we divide a shape in half, we have two equal parts. We have a part that's going to be on the left or the right, or a part that's going to be on the top or the bottom. So I have shaded in on each of these shapes one out of two equal parts. Okay, so we know that when we have a shape that's divided into two equal parts, it is separated into halves. That's another word that we can use for two equal parts. So each part is a half of the whole. So we have two examples up here. We have a yellow circle and then we have an orange rectangle. So we have two equal parts. You can go ahead and trace over this too. So we have two equal parts or two halves when we are talking about having a shape that has two parts. So let's do a couple of examples together. We're going to look at number 1 and number 2 first. So we have to write how many equal parts make up the whole. So for number 1, we have a square that is divided into two parts. So we have two equal parts here. And then number 2, we have a circle with one line going vertically down the center, and we also have two equal parts here. Okay, remember, when we have equal parts, both parts have to look exactly the same, no matter what two-dimensional shape we're talking about. So for number 3 and number 4, our directions are to draw lines to show two equal parts and to write how many halves we have. So for our rectangle, we've done the vertical line, so I'm going to do a horizontal line this time. So remember, a rectangle is one of those shapes that we can use. Oops, that line isn't quite in the middle. So let me erase this and try again. Let's see. Okay. This looks a little bit better. So we have a horizontal line going across. to make two halves to our rectangle. And then remember we talked about circles, how circles you can pretty much do a line anywhere across the circle as long as it's going through the center. So I'm actually going to do a slant line. Normally in class we try and get a little fancy with our lines for a circle. So I have a slant line, so it's going across the center of my circle, and I have two halves. Circle is the only shape that we can do this with. We'll end up with two equal parts no matter where our line is going across the circle, as long as it goes to the center. Okay, here's the on my own page. I will give you the directions. Then once I'm done giving the directions, please press pause. Take some time to do this page on your own, and then I will go over the answers with you when we are done. So your directions for number 5 and number 6 are to write how many equal parts make up the whole. Your shape for number 5 is a rectangle, and your shape for number 6 is a circle. Number 7, 8, 9, and 10, your directions are a half of each shape is missing. Draw the missing half. This is the fun part. So we have some shapes here that look like a shape, but it is not the full shape. You have to make sure that you are drawing in the half that is going to match the half that they already have drawn. So think about it how we talked about in our equal parts lesson on Monday about a mirror. So right now you are only seeing half of the shape. Pretend you put a mirror up on your shape and you have to draw in the next half that will show this exact same image. Your last question for number 11 and 12, your directions are to color half of each shape and write how many parts are shaded. You may use your pencil if you don't have crayons. If you have crayons, you can color in one side of this shape. And then you have to write how many parts are shaded on the line. So remember, take some time, do this section on your own, press pause, and then I will go over the answers with you when you are done. All right, now we're ready for some answers. So let's look at number 5 and 6 first. We had to write how many equal parts make up the whole. So for this rectangle, we have 2 equal parts because we have one horizontal line going across the middle. Number 6 for this circle, we also have 2 equal parts. We have a vertical line going down that circle. Now the next 4 questions, this is the fun part. We have half of a shape and half is missing, so we have to draw in the missing half. So for number 7, this looks like a square, but it's not a square. If we were to draw in, as best as we can, the missing half for this shape, we would end up with a rectangle. So there's my missing half, and this is our line that is going down the center of your rectangle to make this rectangle into 2 equal parts. Number 8 is our circle. This is going to be a little tricky. Just do the best you can. So we have to draw in the missing part of this circle. My pen's not moving fast enough. Let me see if I can fix this, because this looks like there's a corner. So we have to remember that with a circle, there are not any corners. So make sure that your lines are going as rounded as they can for a circle. There we go. That's better. All right, number 9. We have what looks like a very small rectangle. So we need to draw in the missing part across the bottom of this rectangle. There we go. There is our missing half. For number 10, we have another rectangle, so we need to draw in our missing half on this side, because we have a vertical line this time, so there is our missing half of our rectangle for number 10. All right, our last 2 questions, number 11 and 12, we had to shade in 1/2. So I'm going to shade in 1/2 of this square. And make sure your shading is a little bit neater than mine. So now for the bottom, blank of blank parts. So it's asking us to show what number of parts is shaded. So if we look at our shape for number 11, we have 1 of 2 parts that is shaded in. So you should have 1 of 2 written at the bottom. For number 12, I'm going to shade in 1 of my parts, and it's asking the exact same thing. Write how many parts are shaded. So we have 1 of 2 parts that is shaded for number 12. All right, let's look at our word problems. Number 13, it says, Joey has a hot dog. He cuts it in half. How many equal parts is the hot dog cut into? So to answer this question, we can think about a hot dog. If we were to cut this hot dog in half, Joey has 2 equal parts. Because remember, when we're talking about halves, that also means 2 equal parts. Number 14, Tina draws this square. Help Tina by drawing a line to show 2 equal parts. There are a couple of different ways that we can do this. We can do a vertical line down the center. We can do a horizontal line across. We can also do a diagonal line. We haven't talked about this yet with a square. A square is the only shape that we can do a diagonal line for, and we will still end up with 2 equal parts. If we tried to do this with a rectangle, it wouldn't work. And the reason why is because all of the sides of a rectangle are not the same length. With a square, we know that all sides are the same length. So if I were to fold that square in half, it would make a little triangle, and then when I opened it back up, it would look like a square again. So squares are the only shapes that we can do a diagonal line for. Rectangles, if you were to fold it in half of the rectangle, you would end up with a side that would go below the other side, and when you opened it back up, the 2 sides would not look equal. So for this square, I did my diagonal line to show that this is a third way that we can show 2 equal parts for a square. For extra practice, you can do the My Homework page 691 and 692 in your book. Remember to go back and replay this video, press pause if you need to pause the video for some more time to work, and if you have any questions, please have your parents send me an email. Have a great day, friends. Bye.